Welcome to Unplug with Mel. I'm your host, Mel Mosier, and I am thrilled to have you join us for today's empowering episode. We have the incredible Misty Knight, founder of Tenacious Women's Ministry and author. She's here to tell us her story. Misty is on a mission to empower women, and she's here to offer her invaluable insights on navigating challenges such as divorce, raising children, making yourself a priority, and reclaiming your voice. Through her own experiences, Misty provides a beacon of hope and strength to those seeking to overcome adversity and finding inner resilience. She also gives us insight of what it's like to run a nonprofit and why she decided to create Tenacious Women's Ministry. Join us for a heartfelt conversation as Misty shares her wisdom on empowerment, resilience, and reclaiming your strength. This is an episode you won't want to miss. Tune in now to Unplug with Mel. Welcome, Misty. I thank you for joining us on Unplug with Mel. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
It's a great day. I love when I get to record a podcast and meet someone new, which is you, because I haven't met you in person. We are local, but we connected through social media. And so with coming on this podcast, it's to really just unwind, unplug, and tell your story. So I let my guests come up here and introduce themselves, give their bio, and begin telling a pivotal moment in their life that really shaped who they were and any setbacks that happened along that journey that you would like to share with the audience today. So whenever you're ready, you can start.
Awesome. Well, I think, when I was growing up, I was a very wanted to be first in the line and type A overachiever, all straight A's, just a really go-getter kind of girl. And I was in a lot of sports, and my parents really encouraged us to get all A's and just do our best at everything we tried to do. But in doing that, I was also uh, I wasn't able to connect with people very well. And I was kind of a chameleon in high school. I was in like the honors classes, and then I played basketball, and then I was in PALs. And so I had friends in every little area, but no close friends, right? No one who really knew me. And I feel like that theme just kind of continued in college and then into my adulthood. And in college, really, I had a lot of issues with relationships. I had my first serious boyfriend told me that he could never marry me because his mom didn't like me. And then I had a guy tell me once that he just didn't miss me when I was gone. And another guy who told me, I just don't love you like you love me. And it just seemed to be a theme in my relationships that I was very strong and or I came on strong, right? And the love just wasn't reciprocated. And my younger sister and younger brother got married before me, and I just kind of felt like I was I had to get married. Like that wasn't right that they were younger than me, and got married before me. And so I feel like I really rushed into marriage after that because I didn't want to be left out. I didn't want to be the older sister who didn't get married. And I also always wanted to have kids. So I really rushed into marriage, and it was a marriage that was not right for me. And that being a chameleon really intensified because it was an emotionally abusive marriage, and it was with a narcissist who was like a chronic liar. And I just really had to be whatever he wanted me to be in the moment based on his emotions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And 9 years of that made me forget who I was.
Mm.
Like, I was no longer at the end of that marriage, I was no longer the strong-willed, type A personality, go get 'em kind of girl. I was a shell of who I was. I couldn't remember what my dreams and aspirations were. I couldn't remember what God had put on my heart as a child to do. And I really struggled for a long time because of that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow, I can relate to several parts of your story already. This is going to be great. It's going to be a great interview. In this, in that time frame when you realized that you had married the wrong person and then you're seeking your identity, what are some of the things that you did that kind of brought Misty back again?
A lot of soul searching. It's been almost 6 years since that marriage ended, uh, by my choice. I think it's important to tell why, because I think it could help a lot of women who might be in that situation. I had stayed in the relationship because of the kids. I
Yeah.
didn't want to have a separated family. I didn't want my kids to not have their dad in their life. But one day, my son started to talk to me the way that his dad was talking to me.
Mm.
And that's when it clicked in my head that I can't stay because my boys are learning that it's okay to treat women this way, and my daughter is learning that it's okay to be treated this way.
Hmm.
And that's when I decided enough was enough and I had to get out. And it was a hard transition because I had been a stay-at-home mom for 5.5 years and didn't have any way. Like, I had gone into entrepreneurship to try to make money so that I could get out, and had only been in entrepreneurship for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And so it was a really hard transition, but I did it and I relied on God to support me the entire way. And every single time a need came up, he provided what we needed. But the healing process has really been me diving into and being vulnerable enough
Mm.
to allow myself to heal. I had
Keyword
to.
there. Vulnerable. To be vulnerable, yeah. Which
Yeah, yeah.
so for sure I
I
can
think,
relate.
being in an emotionally abusive relationship, I couldn't have feelings, right? Because if I had feelings, then it would lead to a bigger, stronger reaction from him. So
Mm.
I really learned how to stuff my feelings very well. And I think that's been the biggest help in my healing process, is learning how to feel my feelings again. Because a lot of times what I would do is I would have the thoughts that were causing me to feel terrible, but I wouldn't know how to figure out what they were. And so in learning that it's okay to have emotions again, I think that's where most of the healing has come.
So after you've done your soul seeking and your processing and you've had this, I guess, revival of who Misty is, what are some, I guess, big victories or an eye-opening victory for you that you can look back and go, that's when I knew I was back in action? Like, I've got, maybe it's with the entrepreneur, getting those skills back in set, maybe raising the kids alone. What are some, just you sit back and go, okay, all right, I'm good. I got this.
I think that the biggest victories have come in the last year. I
Mm.
think the first 3 to 4 years, I got remarried again pretty quick, and those first 3 to 4 years, I was really focused on the kids and the relationship and the house, and so it's only been the last 2 years that I really dove deeper to work on myself, and so I think most of the biggest victories have happened in the last year, and that's been just really learning to accept myself for who God made me to be.
Mm.
I think for so long I tried to be what everybody else wanted. I was a people pleaser, and learning to say no to other people and also learning to accept myself the way that I am has really helped with that. And I think that as a people pleaser, what we're typically wanting to do is to not upset people, right?
Mhm.
But by not upsetting other people, we are not being true to ourselves.
Mhm.
And so that's just really been a process of learning to let go, to not care what other people think about me, and to just be me.
I love that. There was a saying that I kind of created in my journey that I didn't gravitate, but it was out of frustration and anger, not at anyone else but myself, because I knew my life could be different. But somehow it just got stuck in the same pattern. And
Yeah.
it was what you tolerate is what you allow.
Oh,
And
yes.
with people pleasers, I didn't think it was such a bad thing that I always wanted to give what they wanted to take. And then I realized, but I was allowing all of their bad behavior because I tolerated it for
Mhm.
the four-letter word of love.
Yeah.
That's not love, you know? And it took me a while to say, I'm not a people pleaser anymore. I have boundaries. I can say no without guilt. And I'm very careful with my yes, because that holds weight too. What we're giving our time and effort to. I used to say yes all the time, even if I didn't want to do it. And I was miserable. So I can get how finding that worth in your own value helps you say, I won't tolerate that type of behavior anymore.
Mhm.
For those listening today, and wanting to pursue their passions or stories. And I guess in particular, maybe it's another stay-at-home mom who's listening in today, or someone struggling getting their career off because they've been a stay-at-home mom for so long. What would you say, or what advice would you offer to them today, based on your own experiences?
To getting the career off the ground?
Or just maybe it's the marriage, maybe it's career, maybe it's how to keep parenting kids. Maybe they feel a little lost in their own identity. And how did you begin that soul seeking thing?
Yeah, I think that's a really big issue right now is with moms especially is, and I see it all over the Facebook groups. Like I've poured everything into my kids. I have no energy. I'm drained all the time. I give everything to everyone else and I have nothing left for me. So my number one tip for that is put yourself first. I know it's not popular. It sounds
Teach
selfish,
me.
but it is
Teach
not.
me. How do we put ourselves first? Come on, teach me here.
It is not selfish. We have to put ourselves first. And I know it's cliche. It's, put on your mask before you put on the person sitting next to you, right? You've got to have yours on in order to breathe. And it's just true in life. Like we have to put ourselves first or we have no energy left for anyone else. So do what makes you happy. If that's working out, then make sure you schedule a workout every day. If it is sleep, make sure you are planning to get enough sleep. If it is going to Bible studies, make sure you put it on your schedule to go to a Bible study. Like whatever it is that fuels you, you have to make sure that you get time in every single week or you are going to end up burnt out. You're not going to be able to take care of your kids. You're going to be a snappy, yelling mom like I was a few years ago, and it's not going to be fun.
I love how you said it's not selfish to put yourself first.
Hmm.
I think I struggled 15 years in marriages and raising kids with that whole thing that if I gave up me, I was a good mom and a good wife. And if I took any time, even a bubble bath, or
Yeah.
I loved to go work out in a real gym. In the journey that we go in life, we can't do it alone. We can't do it without support, without being someone's go-to person, or having a good tribe, or even it's our spouse. Who's your corner people? Who's your tribe that you would like to give shout outs to? Who's mentored you along the way? in your journey. You said it's been about 6 years that you've been doing this, and you married again real quickly, or a little bit after that.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be bumpy roads in there. You know, you're still trying to find who Misty is. So who helped you, or you can go to and find a grounding board, or a sounding board, I should say,
Mm-hmm.
that keeps you centered.
Yeah, I think my biggest supporter, biggest cheerleader, and biggest help with all of that is definitely my husband.
Mm.
He has been from day one, like he knows me better than I know myself. It's really strange. And he's able to tell me when I need things, and he supports me when I want to go to the gym. He supports me when I want to take a bath. And, he's always telling me, yeah, go, just go. Like, he doesn't hold me back at all, which is really awesome. And then I have two mentors that I would like to mention, and they're not up close mentors by any means, but they are people that I look up to and that have really played a huge part in my healing journey. And that is Joyce Meyer.
Mm.
Absolutely love that woman. She's incredible, and she's just someone that I really look up to because of all that she's done in her life. And then the second one is Pastor Jim Baker. He's the founder of Wealth with God, and I started his course, Wealth with God, a little over a year ago. And it has been one of the most transformative experiences for me because he had so many things in there. Like, you think it's a class about wealth, but it's not. It's about learning who God is, right? Like, I think I grew up in a Baptist environment where it was like, beating you over the head with a stick kind of.
Mhm.
And Pastor Baker has brought me so much healing in my relationship with God and learning how to view him correctly.
Mhm.
And so I just commend him with my life basically, because he has completely turned it around and pointed me towards God, which is absolutely awesome.
I love it. I love how, whether they're close mentors or just people that we find in the journey to look up to, like Joyce Myers, they teach us.
Mhm.
They're telling their story or what they're learning, and they're sharing it, and we grab a hold to what they're saying so that we utilize it every day. Their wise wisdom, or what do you call it? The Joyce is really good of hitting you where you need to be hit all of a sudden. And so those are great people to keep listening to.
Yes.
We have a little bit of time to shift it to your entrepreneurship that
Okay.
you briefly have talked about. And that's how we've kind of met. You run a non-for-profit or
Mhm.
nonprofit locally here. Would you like to tell the audience about it?
Sure. I'd love to. So the nonprofit really came from my desire to help other women who have struggled like I have struggled, who have lost themselves, who don't know what they want in life, don't know what their mission or vision is in life, but know that there's something bigger out there for them and know that they have a part to play. They just don't know what that is. And so our mission at the nonprofit is to bring heaven to earth in every single area of life, to help women become all that God created them to be. We do that through offering coaching and classes for every single area of a woman's life where she might be struggling. So let's say you are the yelling, nasty parent who's like so sick of your kids, you want to throw them down the street, right? Like, we've got parenting coaching for you. Or maybe you're just really struggling in your relationship and you don't know how to communicate with your husband, and so many things have gone wrong and you don't know how to repair it. We've got relationship coaching for you. Or maybe you have a mission or a vision in life, but you don't know how to bring it to the public, right? Like, how to make it happen. Then
Mhm.
we can help you with some business coaching,
Mm.
or life coaching, or spiritual coaching, or abuse recovery coaching if you've been through one of those bad relationships. We just want to have a coach who specializes in every single area where a woman might be struggling so that we can help her in that area and so that she can truly learn to shine in everything that God made her to be.
Hmm. How did this vision for the nonprofit become?
Oh, it started I was let go from my job. I was a business coach at Farmers Insurance, and I was let go from my job when COVID hit.
Mm,
And so I really thought that that was God telling me to go full time in my business, which I had started part time, and just basically Him giving me the green light to go all in, right? So I did that for 3 years, not making any money, not
mm,
helping any people. And so for 3 years, I wasn't being paid. And I was just grinding and grinding and grinding, really trying to make it work, right?
mhm,
And so that 3rd year, I was really struggling. I was like, "God, like, you gave me this mission, you gave me this vision, but it's not working. Like, I'm not helping people, I'm not making money. What gives?" You know? Like, what is wrong here? What am I doing wrong? And the hard answer was, "It's not about you."
mhm,
And that really stung. It was really a stab to the heart. Like, I really had made it all about me and wanting to make money and wanting notoriety, and that's not what it was about. It was supposed to be about the women that He wanted me to help. And so at the end of last year, I closed the business, and in January of last year, opened the nonprofit and have just been all in with trying to make His vision come to life. So our coaching, we offer at just $50 per session, but we also offer a sliding scale fee. So if you have low income, you can still get coaching. We
mhm.
also offer scholarships with that. And the goal is really to make coaching available and affordable to anyone who needs it. And
I love
so,
I love it. I think I saw it popping around on social media. I didn't know who was the founder of it. But the name of the ministry is very eye catching because I love the word tenacity.
yes,
So, Tenacious Women Ministries is that what it's called, right?
Tenacious Woman Ministries.
Love
And
it.
it's because we want to help you stay tenacious
Yes.
through
And
all of life's challenges.
so, if y'all are needing some local coaching around here, you have a person, Misty Knight over here, who can get you right in. In launching this and realizing that you really clearly heard it's not you, it's the overall helping and serving. Have you seen a different stress relief in that? Like you're not constantly worried about the revenue or whatever because the needs are actually being met. You said it a few times where you weren't helping anyone. Now that
Mhm.
it's not for profit and it's this way, do you see that? Do you see it to where it was his vision the whole time and how it was going to come?
Yeah, it's still slow. I wouldn't say that it picked up immediately, but he still had work to do on me.
Mm,
My mind and my heart, it's taken time to get them to where they needed to be. And, one of the things that Pastor Baker says is that you can't build an outhouse or a skyscraper on an outhouse foundation.
mhm,
I really struggled with that one. And what that means is God can't bless us and give us all of these things if we don't have a good foundation because the blessings would crush us.
mhm,
And so he has had to do a lot of work in me to really become the kind of person who can not make it about me, because that is definitely still my temptation, is to make it about me, and also had to make me the kind of person who could really uphold all of these things, because it's the vision for it is huge,
mhm,
and we can't go from little bitty to huge in one giant step, or things will likely fall apart.
mhm,
So I understand that it's going to be a process. It feels okay in here now, which is awesome. It doesn't feel like I'm trying to just force it to happen. And then also it's just a process. I've learned to trust him as my provider to provide for all of my needs, whether that be for my personal needs or the needs of the nonprofit. And I've trusted him to put all of our stuff in front of the people who need to see it. And
Mhm.
so if I have an event and only one person shows up, that person needed to be there. And I
Yep.
am there for that person, and I'm going to put 100% into that person for that
Mhm.
time that we're there.
That one impact, it matters.
Yes.
You are a very busy lady because I think I just saw that you have a book out.
Yes.
So you running a not-for-profit, you closed your other business, you're still self-discovering with God in this journey, and somehow you found time to write a book. Tell me more.
Well, I wrote a couple of books the first year of COVID and then kinda sat on them. Like, I published them, but I haven't done a whole lot of promoting them. And a couple years ago, probably about a year and a half ago, I was walking my dogs, and I've never told anybody this in public, so this is scary. But I was walking my dogs and listening to Joyce Meyer, and she mentioned in whatever I was listening to that she had written 140 books, like over 140 books. And I was like, wow, God, that's a lot of books. And I felt like in that moment, he told me, you're going to write more. And I was like, "What? Me? Like, no, God, I'm already like 40 years old. Like, no, I'm too old for that. There's no way I'm gonna write 140 books. Like, you're crazy." And I've just kind of let that simmer in my heart for the past year. And I felt like this year he told me it's go time. And so I've just done whatever he puts on my heart. So we had the first book that I published this month, which is a Bible study on boundaries, which is awesome.
Totally
And
needed.
then and then I know. See, what we did was I have a Bible study that meets every Monday morning, and we had just finished, I think it was Lisa Turkhurst's book on good boundaries and goodbyes, which is a great book. But most of the feedback was it didn't give us, like, practical advice for actually how to set boundaries. And
Mhm.
so I thought, "You know what? That's what I'll start with. We'll just dive into how to actually practically set boundaries in our lives, and that'll be my first book." So I published that this month, and then next month I'll be publishing, Fit and Fabulous. It is a book on uh, how to eat healthy and how to exercise. And then it has all of the mindset worksheets in it to help
Mm.
you actually make it happen. And
Wow.
then, and then the
You
next
know there
month,
too. I
the
think you're
next
just
month,
totally well, that's why you're on the podcast. You're talking to Mel. You know,
yeah,
boundaries and get fit and be fab. All right. I'm
yeah.
down with this.
And then my next one will be another Bible study, and this one will be on finances. So I'm going to be taking a lot of the stuff that I learned from Wealth with God and putting it into a Bible study. So we're looking at 3 this year so far.
I mean, that's amazing. And it's just amazing how we can fit so much when we utilize our time. You know,
Yeah.
we're not there clicking through or scrolling through or whatever. We're being very intentional on our growth plan and hearing, for me, like you, it's God, what are we doing here? You know, like, am I on the right path? Do I need to steer this way, to the left, to the right? So that we're not being unintentional in the alignment. I've been using alignment all this year. Like, am I in alignment with everything? Finances,
Mhm.
fitness, you know, my kids, and I'm a single mom. So like if I'm not intentional in it, it gets very unbalanced real quick.
Yeah.
So in that, all of that good stuff that you have, we get to have a little fun if you're ready. So as moms, as you know, being married or even single, and then being an entrepreneur and multitasking. It's multi. What does Misty do to put her oxygen mask on first? What do you do to unplug? We can't be putting out everything, writing 3 books in just a couple of months. Like, what do you do to deep breath and make sure that you're investing back in yourself?
Well, I have my morning routine. My morning routine is absolutely essential. I get up a minimum of an hour and a half before everyone else. And the first hour I spend with God and my coffee. Got to start it right. Got a coffee. And then I get ready so that I'm ready before everyone else gets up. Because if I'm trying to get ready at the same time as everyone else, I learned a long time ago that does not work. So I get ready and then I get everyone else up. And that's what my morning routine is like. After my husband takes the younger kids to school, and so when they leave, I do my stretching and my physical therapy exercises for my hips, which have been super great for helping me with all of my flexibility in my hips. So if you struggle with hips, highly recommend it. And then other than that, it's daily exercise. I love to go to the gym and lift weights. And then once a week, I do a detox bath with a bunch of Epsom salt and baking soda. And then I like to read. I read a lot.
I read a lot. I'm a sponge. I think that's what it is I'm the ever learner, and I need to know different things. And if it's scientific book, if it's a business book, if it's a spiritual book, or if it's a fantasy fun book or whatever, I'm still like, I don't know. It's like it helps my anxiety and everything. So I can see how those things or those activities help us unplug. Do you make sure that your schedule is always including it, like you don't miss a day, or do you give a day where you just do absolutely nothing?
Sometimes Saturdays or Sundays might be an unplugged day where you just do nothing. But those are very rare with 5 kids and all the
God, you didn't
activities.
say that. 5 kids. Wow, and reading books. Okay, Mel. I'm feeling behind the ball here. Um, no, I love it. So as we wrap up the podcast and everything like that, the one of the best things to end it off on is what piece of advice, maybe it's a quote, maybe it's something Joyce Meyer has said to you over and over again, that and how has it influenced your career or your life in general for the audience to hear?
I think the best advice I've ever heard is be yourself because there's only one you.
So simple, right?
Yeah.
We make life so more complicated than what it needs to be. Be you. There's only one. Yeah, I love it. Because if you try to be, well, the people pleaser, if you try to be
Yeah.
what everyone else wants, you lose yourself. And once you lose yourself, it's very hard to come back from it. You've got a journey ahead of you. Anything else you would like to add from your story for the listeners today?
Just keep going. Don't give up. Don't give in. If you're struggling with your kids or your life or your spouse, just don't give up. There's always another day. Just get a good night's rest, and tomorrow's a new day.
It's figure outable, no matter what
Yes.
it is and everything. Well, how can the listeners, if they're interested in the Tenacity Women's Ministry, or if they just want to connect with you as a coach, how do they reach out to you?
So the best way is probably through our website, which is tenaciouswomanministries.org.
Awesome. And the book, I guess I can add a link to this podcast for them to order it, correct?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Awesome. Well, if you get a chance to listen to this episode, be sure to, find her through the website, as well as comment on the episode that you listened in, and she'll reach out to you that way. Misty, I thank you for your time.
Yes,
and
thank you so much for having me.
To get to know you. There's a lot of similarities into stories that I pick up on, that women in the empowerment movement that we are under with the pressure of the world. Mm-hmm. just so much to relate to, and I'm so encouraged for your ministry. There's such a need in this Permian Basin for sure, but overall in the whole world, women need to feel that they're not alone. So I will continue to root for you on this side of the podcast, as well as I'm local, so I'm sure we'll meet each other around town now and everything.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much.
I enjoyed this. You can hear us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and even iHeartRadio. Thank you, Misty, for joining in tonight.
Thank you.